What's up, guys? Matt Brown here for lineups.com. Talk a little Monday Night Football between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Jacksonville Jaguars over here on Lineups. You can see Noops has an article on the first touchdown score. Get his thoughts on what's going on over there with that. And as always, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. Everything we do, absolutely free here on this channel. Flip over to MGM. And by the way, if you have not done so already, sign up at MGM, use promo code LINEUPS. When you do it, receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets on your first bet if it happens to lose. So be sure and take advantage of that over at BetMGM. Sitting 3.5 in favor of the Chiefs on the road. 45.5 is the total if you think the Jags pull this thing off. Plus 165 there on the Jags to get this thing done. Now, we'll flip over here real quick to this injury report. You can see Christian Fulton is listed as questionable, as is Xavier Worthy. Omar Norman-Lott is a rotational guy, and he's listed as questionable. Something flared up for him on Saturday during practice, and so that's why he's listed as questionable. Xavier Worthy was not listed as questionable. As you can see, a couple full practices on Thursday and Friday. Apparently woke up on Saturday, had a little bit of swelling in his ankle. And so according to reports out there, this is nothing more than precautionary that they put him on the injury report just to, in case some sort of weird thing happened, he wasn't able to play. They didn't want to, get fined or in trouble or something. But Xavier expected to play, expected to be okay there in that one. Down on the Jacksonville side of things, you can see this is just a special teams guy right here who is listed as out. Trayvon Walker is the real one that you're watching here. This is a rotational backup offensive lineman, but Trayvon Walker listed as questionable. You can see a couple D&Ps and then a limited. So I think I would say he definitely is game time decision here for this Jags team. So could be a decent little loss there for them, as he is a starter there on the defensive line for them. Back over here to the game. Full disclosure for me, and no one cares what I have, but this thing opened at 2.5. And so I played the 2.5 on the Chiefs. 3.5 is a completely different story. I think it's a pass for me at the 3.5 number. What I will say is, if this gets back to a flat 3, there seems to be a decent amount of love out there for the Jags and some positive sentiment for them. So maybe you get some late money here on the Jags. If it got back to a flat 3, then I would still recommend the play on the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs getting Xavier Worthy back really did kind of open up this offense at least a little bit more. And, remember, they're still a couple of weeks away from getting Rashee Rice back. Once he's back out there, this thing's firing on all cylinders again. We'll probably be talking about the Chiefs being one of the better teams in the NFL again, yet again. As far as the total goes at 45.5, I think this is a really, really correlated, easy kind of correlation play here, which is, if you like the Jags, you like the under. The Jags have played really well on defense so far. That said, you could go in and say something about the Jags and perhaps their level of opponent. I mean, that's one of the things you could look at here. And if you wanted to try and poke holes in what's going on, I mean, I thought this defense was going to be middle of the pack. So far, so good for them. But then also, look, Carolina, Cincinnati, no Joe Burrow, Houston, one of the worst offenses in the NFL, and then San Francisco all beat up, all beat to hell. So this is the first real opponent that this Jacksonville defense is going to face here on Monday night with the Kansas City Chiefs. And we're going to find out a lot about them in the coming weeks. As you can see, Seattle obviously playing very, very well on offense. The Rams playing very, very well on offense. So the next 3 weeks, we're going to find out about this Jags team for sure. But again, there's an obvious hole in the defensive side for the Chiefs. They actually cover really well. And one of the best coverage grades in the NFL, according to Pro Football Focus. But the run defense is a little suspect. And so you got to think that if there is some success that is going on for this Chiefs team, for this Jags team, it's because they're having success on the ground and they're getting it done on the ground. And so I think that if you look at this is a pretty easy kind of, okay, I like the Jags. If I like the Jags, I also like the under. If you're playing some sort of same game parlay type of deal, I think you have to be looking at that. The defense has been, again, really, really good so far for the Jags, but I can't completely buy in until I see them against a real offense, an offense with a pulse. Now, is that offense with the pulse the Chiefs? I'm buying in and saying yes, but we have one game sample size of them having a good offense. Before Xavier Worthy was out there last week, this team looked stuck in the mud. So I'm going to say that he will be the dude that kind of like sparks this team to more offensive success. But, again, small sample size, one game sample size for me. I think we really find out what this Chiefs team is all about, getting out to kind of like week 7, week 8 after Rashee Rice is back in there for them. That being said, the offense has been fairly efficient, 6th overall year to date in EPA per play, which is pretty crazy considering they haven't really been able to do a ton. Let's go here to the player prop market, where I do like a couple of plays here in this one. Even if they are running the ball effectively, they're going to have to throw the ball at least a little bit. I do like, and this is touchdown scorer. We're not going to go to touchdown scorer. Let's go to receiving, and we'll go to receiving yards and receptions. I like Brenton Strange a decent amount here in this game. The tight end position is another one of the weaknesses of the Kansas City defense. Now, the outside coverage has been very, very good. Wide receivers struggling a decent amount on this team. However, so far through the short season, only the Cincinnati Bengals give up more yards per game to the tight end position. As of right now, this Kansas City team has given up about 69 yards a game to the tight end position receiving. So we are asking Brenton Strange for 35 of those. I like the fact that we are only asking for 35 from Brenton Strange. So really like me some Brenton Strange over on the 35 yards. I think Trevor Lawrence, even though he has not been efficient throwing the ball, more efficient throwing the ball to these high percentage throws, high percentage dudes, and certainly Brenton Strange falls into that category there. So we're going to pick on the weakness of the defense for the Chiefs and the fact that Trevor Lawrence has not been great to the wide receivers. Wide receivers have not been doing their part. I mean, again, I don't really have the stones to go under on Brian Thomas, but if I was rolling out some sort of like crazy same game parlay, there's probably like a negative, you probably get a bonus for some sort of negative correlation with Brian Thomas unders, but Trevor Lawrence overs, things like that. Like, I think that those are ways that you could definitely play this thing, but do like me some Brenton Strange here in this one. One more that I'm going to play, and I'm going to play over on Brashard Smith. And I like that this has gone to 7.5. This was a really juiced 6.5 on Smith. Like, well, you can see it's kind of toggling back and forth here on this. So just wait. It'll get to 7.5 yards, and then just play the 7.5 at the cheaper juice as opposed to the super expensive 6.5. But they have asked about Brashard Smith, and they keep saying that they want to increase his production week after week after week in there. Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt have been zero burgers. I mean, absolutely nothings for this offense. And so if you are going to continue to try to get this offense to look at least somewhat like it has over the last couple of years, you got to get these dudes out of there. You got to go with the more explosive dude. And so Smith has at least gotten in there and caught a couple of passes here on this season. I think that he works in a little bit more here. We're looking for one catch basically to get us to 7 yards. We need Patrick Mahomes to look at Brashard Smith one time out of the backfield. So I do have the over on him there in that one as well. And again, just from just what we're looking at here overall, I know Lawrence is only averaging about 215, 216, 217 yards a game right now, but if I like the Chiefs and I think that they're going to have to play from behind, it's a really low number on Lawrence. I think I'm probably going to end up on some sort of something with him while trying to do a negative correlation on Brian Thomas. So I think I can get a pretty decent, like if I do over on Lawrence, but under on Thomas. He's actually found some real success throwing to Parker Washington so far this year as well. So if you kind of wanted to do some sort of, hey, the offense works. I mean, Parker Washington only at 14 yards here with this one. On the rushing side of things, nothing really stands out to me. I mean, I think they are going to try to run the ball a ton, and the understanding that trying to pick on this secondary for Kansas City might not be the best way to go about it. So if they run the ball a ton, and if they run the ball a ton with some efficiency, then ATN's not going to be able to get all of the carries, right? They'll probably split a little bit with Tootin. And honestly, a lot of the draft nicks and a lot of the dudes that were kind of, preseason, the dudes that like live in the preseason loved what they saw from Tootin. And so I think he could be an interesting play for you as well. But really, we're looking for the Chiefs at 3, and we're looking at Brenton Strange, and we're looking at Brashard Smith today. If you head over here, again, Noop's got an article on Anytime Touchdown, and so a little sneak preview. Oh, look, he likes Parker Washington as well. So go ahead, see what his reasoning is behind all of that. And again, if you have not done so, subscribe to the channel. Let us know in the comment section how you're playing this game, and good luck on all your Monday Night Football bets.